Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. This here's the Big D of Big D's rankings and reviews. Entertainment rankings and reviews, that is. Anyway, today I'm going to do a bit of a first. I'm going to be doing a Three-fer review. Now, Three-fer, I will be reviewing three of a kind of a particular type of series or what have you in entertainment. It's mostly going to be video games though, because I know most games have had more than one type of game. So I'm going to be starting with some real good for the Nintendo Entertainment System. No, it's not Super Mario. It's actually going to be a game that is in a way like Mario, but just a little different, and is one of my main favorites. It is none other than Tiny Toon Adventures, based on the cartoon series of the same name from the Looney Tunes studio and Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment. Yeah, that's one studio I think is okay to mention. I gotta say, I used to come home from school. I managed to catch it mostly, but not all of it. But soon I did have some other competing shows going along up against it. Like, well, what PBS had. I mean, I'm sure they don't mind me mentioning them, but that's another story, okay? But anyway, Tiny Toons has become one of my favorites. You may know this show that loosely is based on the Looney Tunes characters, although we do get to see them sometimes as their teachers at Acme University in the fun-filled town of Acme Acres. Of course, among their inhabitants include Buster Bunny and Babs Bunny, as well as Plucky Duck, and Furball, Dizzy Devil, Hampton J. Pig, and many others. Plus, of course, we do have human characters in the form of the mean Montana Max and the animal-loving Elmira. So anyway, let's get into the games. As these three games I'm only going to be doing the Nintendo games. I will talk about the 16-bit games, aka the SNES and Sega Genesis games, as well as the Game Boy games in the future. Maybe, I don't know when I'll do, but I will eventually. But in the meantime, here's my reviews and thoughts on the three games. First off is the original game, Tiny Toon Adventures, released in 1991. Now, as a kid, I actually wanted this game, but it was too pricey, and I never got it, and I still haven't owned it, even though I found it used for a pretty good price. But if I do happen to find it, I will get it. Anyway, soon I managed to rent the game, and I've actually come to love this game. I still do. I still watch walkthroughs of it. I mean, some gamers I know, including Corn Shack, has actually played the game. Now, in the game you play as Buster Bunny, you can also change your character into Plucky, Dizzy, or Furball, as you'll go through 6 fun-filled environments around Acme Acres on a quest to save Babs, who has been taken by Montana Max and is being held in his mansion. Now, you do get to face all sorts of characters from the show, like Roderick Rat, Arnold the Pitbull, and Dr. Gene Splicer, who happens to be the game's first boss. Now, I actually love the game. It's pretty fun and simple for most of it, but it does get pretty tricky later on. Believe me, the stage in Stage 4, the boss of that was easily one of the most difficult boss battles ever, in my opinion. But however, it's getting through Montana Max's mansion that's the big challenge. Yeah, because believe me, you gotta be on your toes in it. Still, the soundtrack to the game is great. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the boss battle music, but I do like the music heard in all the stages You go through from the forest to, well, actually, not just forest. There's grassy plains and a beach, an underwater stage, and a big sea stage, and of course Wacky Land, which is Go-Go Dodo's home. Which that stage is pretty cool. You collect carrots as your currency. If you find a white door in most of the second stages in some of the stages, I think the first three have a white door, and Wacky Land has stage, which is the fifth stage, has a white door. When you'll find Hampton. You get an extra life for every 30 carrots you collect. Sorry. And I think that's really cool because this game has a pretty cheap way of getting extra lives. You can get up to 9 of them. But if you lose all your lives, your game is over. But the game has unlimited continues. Thank you very much. To keep going. You'll also find a ball with a star in it. That's where you can change your other character, your buddy. Also, there's hearts. You need that for an extra hit point. If you take a hit from anybody, you lose instantly. Just like Contra, another Konami title I'm sure everybody's familiar with. But if you do have a heart and you get another heart, that gives you an extra life as well. And that's another good thing. But anyway, after you go through the first 2 stages, you will have to be facing Elmira, who is a major pain in the neck. But now sometimes you can do a pretty good job at evading her capture. Don't let her capture you, or else you will have to repeat the previous stage again. That's a bad aspect. But even so, I do love Tiny Toons. The final battle with Montana Max is pretty tricky in the last bit, but I think you can solve them without much trouble. I'd recommend you check it out. The game's pretty cheap nowadays, so go for it. Next one would be 1992's Tiny Toon Adventures Cartoon Workshop. Now that's an edutainment game. I haven't seen much of it. The only thing you do is you get to put yourself in the director's seat, creating your own Tiny Toons cartoon, which it can only be for maybe 5 minutes or less. You'll get Buster, Babs, Plucky, Furball. You'll also get, Calamity, Coyote, and Little Beaver, which those are the small type versions of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. You can change up all sorts of things. You can edit sounds, put in sound effects, you put in captions, whatever you want to do. Yeah. But the only way you can actually relive that cartoon is if you have a capturing device and then put it on your try and get it uploaded to your VCR or something like that. I don't really know much about it. I've never owned the game, but I've seen a little bit of what you can do in that game. That game I think is pretty cheap too. If you want to check out, go for it. Now, and finally, despite I never owned the first game, I did own the third game, the real sequel to the first one, and that's Tiny Toon Adventures 2 Trouble in Wacky Land from 1993, although this was released a bit late in the NES life cycle, and the Super Nintendo was already starting to be big, same with the Sega Genesis. But since despite this is a late NES title, the game's relatively cheap too in a way, because I've encountered it for a reasonably low price. But anyway, this game's different, and it takes place at a carnival, not to be confused with Go-Go Dodo's Wacky Land. It's a different one, and I actually do enjoy the storyline for this, because Buster Bunny receives a letter, inviting his friend him and his friends to be invited to this new amusement park for a big surprise, which is signed by a secret admirer. Well, Buster and his friends, which of course the ones you'll be playing as are Babs, Plucky, Furball, and Hampton. They're very happy to read the letter, but however, they don't know the true identity of the secret admirer, who happens to be, you guessed it, Montana Max. He's at it again, and he's got all sorts of traps set out for you. Throughout the game, you do encounter, Roderick Rand and and Arl the Pitbull, who's the boss of the train stage. That's Hampton's level. You get to control Plucky and the bumper cars, which that's easily a very tricky level. A Furball on the log ride. We try not to jump into the water or anything like that. Try to avoid obstacles. And probably the more challenging way is the roller coaster. That's where you'll have Babs on there. Try to avoid Roderick and other obstacles and parts of the building of the roller coaster. Because really, that's tricky. But unlike the first game, you do have 3 hit points. And you have to have a certain amount of tickets to get into it. If you have trouble and lose, try and use your amount of points because it'll be added to your score and count as your currency to get more tickets. If you lose all your tickets, your game's over, but you do have unlimited continues like the first game. But anyway, I think this game's pretty cool. It's not as good as the first. Once you've completed the 4 stages, you get golden tickets because that's the only way you can. The only thing you can get to go into the final stage, which is this high castle level, and that's where you'll defeat Mai, of course, in this blimp of his, which it's pretty cool though. But I do enjoy this. But like I said, it's not as good as the first game, but it comes up there. And despite being a carnival, believe me, folks, I'd much rather play this game than Muppet Adventure Chaos at the Carnival. I played that, but I didn't enjoy it much. It's kind of dull or bland or something like that. And I know it was published by a different company, High Tech Expressions. I know they made some pretty crummy games like what we got from Ocean or THQ or, yes, even Big Bad LJN. Even so, I think Tiny Toons 2 is pretty good. I think you should check it out. But anyway, like I said, Tiny Toon Adventures games for the NES were really cool. Now, there would be other games. It'd be some for the Game Boy, 3 of them. There'd be 2 for Super Nintendo and 2 for Sega Genesis. But those are going to be the only ones I'm going to cover. I will not cover the other games for the PlayStation or the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. Those are from a different company, and I've never looked at them much, but that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, please feel free to comment. What did you think about these games? Have you ever played any of the Tiny Toons games when you were young, or if you play them now? Let me know, please. Also, feel free to like and subscribe, please. And thank you for watching. I'm the Big D. Until next time, see ya!